bigger than expected reshuffle from the Prime Minister. We know from last week the factional dealings that two Cabinet Ministers, Mark Dreyfus and Ed Husic, are out. They are off the front bench. In their place into Cabinet comes Tim Ayers, a New South Wales Senator from the left faction who's a close ally of the Prime Minister's. He will take on Ed Husic's portfolios of industry and science. The other new face in Cabinet is Anne Ali. She's a West Australian MP. She takes on the portfolios of small business, international development and multicultural affairs. Beyond that, here are some of the more substantial changes. Obviously, with Mark Dreyfus going, his Attorney General portfolio is up for grabs. That's gone to Michelle Rowland. She's a lawyer. It's one of the quirks. You need to be a lawyer, usually by convention, to take on the Attorney General's portfolio. Her portfolio of communications goes to Annika Wells. So Annika Wells will be both the Minister for Communications and the Minister for Sport. Murray Watt, surprisingly, a Queensland Senator, takes on the portfolio of Environment and Water. This, of course, was held by Tanya Plibersek, who remains in Cabinet, but she will now be the Minister for Social Services. The Minister who did hold that portfolio, Amanda Rishworth, takes on Murray Watt's old portfolio of Employment and Workplace Relations. Mark Butler remains the Health Minister, but he adds the NDIS into his suite of portfolios. And the other interesting one is Tony Burke. Now, he remains the Minister for Home Affairs, but it's going to be an expanded portfolio. In this second term of the government, Labor is going to be sort of reshuffling a few agencies. So Home Affairs will once again take in the Australian Federal Police and the domestic spy agency ASIO. Why that's quite interesting is because as the Prime Minister just, whether it's a concession, admission or acknowledgement in that press conference, referred to the caravan incident. That's, of course, the explosives-laden caravan that was found in Sydney earlier this year. He suggested that intel sharing could have been a bit more seamless, and these changes will hopefully make that so in future.
OK, so a fair bit there, in fact a lot there, Jane. If I can just go back to the environment portfolio, that was one of the first questions that was put to the Prime Minister. Obviously Tanya Plibersek out and, as you mentioned, Murray Watt in. Why is this such a significant move? Why was the Prime Minister peppered with questions about this portfolio at the onset?
Yeah, it was absolutely the one that we were watching. We knew that Tanya Plibersek would be in the 30 ministry, but her role in Cabinet, her role, as the Environment Minister were in question. So what you need to know is that Tanya Plibersek and Anthony Albanese are both from the New South Wales left faction. They enjoy a pretty awkward personal relationship, and you'll remember the vision of them sort of shaking hands. There was the air kiss at the ALP launch back in Perth during the election campaign. But towards the end of last year, the Prime Minister torpedoed Tanya Plibersek's nature-positive legislation. This was done mainly for political reasons to shore up Labor's support in Western Australia, the resources state, which did not like the look of the proposal from Tanya Plibersek. So that created some tension between Tanya Plibersek and Anthony Albanese. And so what the Prime Minister has done is he's given her portfolio to Murray Watt, a Queensland Senator. Realistically, it's probably a neater fit for him. He's from a resources state. And you've got to remember, the Environment Minister isn't just looking out for, big issues like animal extinctions. The Environment Minister has to approve everything from wind farms to coal mine extensions. And so it became politically tricky for Tanya Plibersek, whose own seat of Sydney is an inner city seat. Now, she's comfortably, won that, but the extent to which she faces any threat, it's really from the Greens. So realistically, giving Murray Watt the portfolio makes a bit more sense, but also perhaps points to the fact that the Prime Minister wants Labor in this term to set up an environmental protection agency. He said during the election campaign that would take negotiation between environmental groups, industry and business. So perhaps he sees Murray Watt as a deal maker, the kind of guy who can get that through.
Yeah, you touched on those factions there. We know that Ed Husic and Mark Dreyfus were dumped because of that overrepresentation from the right, from New South Wales and Victoria. The Prime Minister was asked whether or not he fought for both those positions. What did he have to say about that?
Yeah, he very much lent on the Labor process, right? It's obviously for people who, watch the election campaign and then watch the kind of ugly factional politics in the week after. It can be a bit of a jarring experience. But Labor has arcane factional rules. It's a progressive party with very, very old rules. The factions carve up the 30 frontbench positions, the right and left factions. And in last week's wheeling and dealing, Ed Husic had to go because of the overrepresentation on the New South Wales right. Mark Dreyfus had to go really because the right in Victoria just wanted some new blood. So in his place, they've elevated Sam Ray into the outer ministry and Daniel Molino. But when asked about this today, the Prime Minister just said it was a process. The factions carve up the positions, I assign portfolios. He wasn't sort of endorsing the decision, supporting the decision, just saying it is what it is. And if you're a member of the Labor Party, you're well aware of it.